Steady up my energy, achieving stealth. Van Allen belt level, deadly, steady, ready, aim. Steps more like Big Daddy than Eddie Kane.
I'm opening today. The Marcel will actually be here next week. I do want to give a special thank you to the podcast, the opportunity, the amount of love I've been receiving in my DMs. Good love, positive love is, I'm very grateful for you guys. So yeah. Thank you. So tonight I'm actually going to sing a song a cappella. I call it the Atlanta Love Story. Well, my friend and her experience, and I just chose to write a poem out of it and I made it into a song. He'll never love you. He'll never hurt you. Girl, you know that he'll be beside you. But he'll never trust you. Girl, you know. Oh, I really want to be with you, but I'm kind of confused. All of these nights I'm tired of all the things that you do. You say you want to be alone, but you keep on holding strong. I'm tired of these nights, I'm tired of all these days because he'll never love you. He'll never hurt you. Girl, you know that he'll be beside you. But he'll never trust you. Girl, you know. Thank you. And unfortunately, that's not my last story. Thank you guys. Brittany Marcel.
I'm about to do my best head crack impression from last week. Alright, so the very first time that I heard Brittany sing was a cappella at her wedding. And I was on the floor. I had no idea that she could even sing. Like, I've known her for years. I had no idea. I have to say, that original song and the pitch, the grit, come on y'all, let's give it up for Brittany Marcel. You killed that, killed it. I cannot wait till that is on some album somewhere because it needs to be. Thank you so much. Welcome to the Way of Kingz live podcast. We appreciate you guys coming. We are here tonight with our special guest, Shawn Garvey. He is I'm not even done with my introduction yet. He is the founder of Reach One Communications and the president of the Honey TV Network. So welcome everyone to the show, Shawn Garvey. There we go. Now, Shawn, I know I might have left one or two accolades out. Please feel free to fill in the blanks for us.
Sure, absolutely. Shawn Garvey, 22 years of radio experience. Started out at WRFG 89.3 FM at the age of 19, and fast forward to working at V103 WLK, and I am the first African-American broadcaster to start a mental health show on a black talk radio station called WAOK News and Talk 1380 WLK, the sister station to V103. And I brought in a lot of great people to talk about their mental health journey, and it propelled me to start my own company. I met so many great people in the industry, interviewed the likes of Cat Williams, Taraji P. Henson, even the first person in Atlanta to start the Mike Roberts and Carol Blackman in the Morning reunion in Atlanta. If you know about Mike Roberts and Carol Blackman, that started the careers of Ryan Cameron in Atlanta. I'm the first pioneers to do that. And fast forward, I am the, what the sister said, the president and owner of Reach One Communications. So I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much for bringing this opportunity to my desk here. And I'm so honored to be here in your presence today. Thank you.
We are very happy to have you. Well, you all know who I am, the Kingmaker here. Next to me, though, we have Kevin Williams. He is a self-made multimillionaire, investor, business owner, and mentor of men. You want to tell us anything else I missed?
Oh, no. I can't compete with Mr. Garvey over here. I'll let him take that one.
As you all can see, we are one host down today. Headcrack had a comedy show that he is attending today, or he is starring in today. And he sends his love and he sends laughs. So we're going to continue in the spirit as though he was here with his Move Better segment. But before we do that, on your table, everyone should have one of these. In the corner of this, on both sides, you'll see a barcode that says watch episodes. I want you to take your phone out and scan the barcode. Subscribe to the YouTube channel for the Way of Kingz podcast. That way you can watch previous episodes and not miss any of the good shit. And then after you have subscribed, keep your phone handy. I want you to go to your IG and follow the Way of Kingz podcast on Instagram. See, Shawn follows instructions. Kevin?
Got it already.
Okay. Now, the last episode that we did, last week's episode, was entitled Rites of Passage and a Journey to Becoming a Modern King. That is available on the YouTube channel now. Now, for our best impersonations of Headcrack, since he isn't here, we are all going to take a shot at his Move Better segment. Cash? Yes. Yes.
All right, so I don't have anything prepared for this, so this is really based on the conversation that myself and Laoda had earlier, right? So earlier today, she was calling me trying to have a very important conversation, and I was in the middle of a very important nap, okay? So what that did was that inspired me to kind of like make a quick segment about the Move Better this week, about the importance of rest, relaxation to reset. Oftentimes we get so caught up in whatever the hustle or the rat race is that you do in order to keep up in the game of survival that we lose track of the importance of just simply resting. Even if you don't have the time to take a full-on night's rest, power naps during the day where you get somewhere and curl up in a fetal position so that your blood flows faster through your body, makes you feel like you sleep more time than you do. Moments of meditation and just brief rest where you silence all of the noise around you and the noise in your mind, where you can have active rest. Try to find time in your day with that. Laoda was telling me that at some point in time in the day, you know that the way that you manifest and create, you need time as a projector to be able to rest, and you don't often have it because you're having to work. So that's what my intake is. My little piece of input for the Move Better segment this week is take the time to rest and reset. Get naps, meditate, rest, whatever you got to do to get a little piece of rest throughout your day.
Thank you. Now, that is very much in alignment with the way that Headcrack's Move Better segment goes. I want to remind you of another conversation we had. No, come back. That piggybacks on something you actually commented about how niggas be lying.
Yeah, I wasn't ready to get into that this week, though. That's a whole nother...
But it's relevant to today's topic.
But it's relevant to the Move Better topic. It absolutely is.
Go ahead, Cash. We ready. We ready.
Once again, don't have anything prepared for us. I'm just going to shoot off the hip with this
Okay.
one. So it came from, I guess, was episode 1.
Yes.
We were talking about some of the elements to being considered high value. Yes. High value friendships, high value as a man, high value as a resource to the people around you. I chimed in and mentioned how it's important to be honest, because oftentimes the things that you have going on that would otherwise ruffle someone's feathers that you get into relationships or co-creationships with wouldn't ruffle the feathers if they knew going into it what they were dealing with and they had the power to choose how to deal with it. I speak in general because I don't want to get into the specifics of anything, but just the power of truth, honesty, and both with yourself and the people you deal with is definitely a way to move better so that your relationships flourish.
Thank you. So I'm going to piggyback on what Cash was talking about in terms of honesty. There is a difference. So for clarification, today's topic is communication and transparency. So taking that topic and applying it to what Cash said, there is a huge difference between honesty and transparency. There is a big difference between honesty and transparency. Honesty is I ask you a direct question and you tell me the truth. So I could say, well, you were X, Y, and Z place. Who were you with? And what were you doing? And hopefully you tell me the truth, because that would be being honest. Transparency is before you left to go to said place, you said, hey, babe, I'm going to X place, and I will be with so-and-so and so-and-so. And I'll be home by X, Y, and Z. And then you do it, right? So the difference between honesty and transparency may seem trivial, but it's not. And it has the biggest effect on a healthy relationship versus one that's just like skirting by, right? Just barely making it. And then one or both parties is like, well, I was honest. I said the truth when he or she asked. But in order for a relationship to be successful, we have to be willing to be transparent with our partners. And transparency doesn't just relate to man, woman, like dating, marriage, partnership, relationship. It can also be just as valuable in a business partnership or even at work. Now, if the police pull you over, you don't need to be transparent. I'm not even saying you need to be honest. You go into a club and say, where are you going? Home. Don't get shot. That's your goal. Don't get shot. Not to necessarily do that. But when there's people that care about you, when there's people that love you, when there's people who depend on you, when there's people who need to be able to trust you, honesty and transparency, that difference makes a world of difference. Everybody understand what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Okay. Shawn, you're making faces.
A lot of faces.
A lot of faces.
Shawn, uncomfortable over there. You all right, bro?
I'm good.
You don't believe in transparency?
I'm good. No, I believe in transparency, but we got to discuss the root cause, okay? So as kids, what did we do a lot of times when we were kids? We lie. Whenever we get into what? Trouble. So that's what happened because we don't want our parents or the adult to be upset with us. We want them to make them think that it wasn't us that did it.
Right.
Okay? And it just been ingrained in us into adulthood because we thought that as kids, it was okay to lie to get out of trouble. Now, for me, and I can only speak for my experience, I have lied plenty of times to the women that I've dated and in the relationships that I have.
Scandal.
You know, I have. But it came from just childhood of being not told that the truth will set you free. How many times have we been told, everybody that's in here have been
the truth will
told,
set you free?
yeah. But
So
apparently
have you healed that? Are you still the person who lies in relationships, or have you, as an evolved man?
No, I haven't. Because you know why? For black men, therapy is what make you honest.
Therapy makes you honest. I can see that.
As a black man.
I can see
Therapy
that.
was what will make you honest.
Wait. So you're saying that if you don't have therapy, then you're not honest?
What I'm saying is that therapy. What I'm saying is that therapy will make you more honest about yourself, to be put into a safe space where you are able to peel back those layers and be more vulnerable to whoever you are talking to the next time outside of your therapist.
Okay, I can see that.
Practice. I got you.
Yes.
So the therapist causes you to practice, and then once you start to practice and feel more comfortable with your practice, then you. I'm down with that. I get that.
Yeah, and you know, as you get older and much wiser, if you become more wiser, and when you get older, you start to, you go through the ish, and you realize that, you know what, I don't want to make the same mistake that I made when I was in my teenage years or when I was in my 20s. I'm 41 years old, even though I don't look like it. But I'm 41 years old. And I realized that a lot of the lies that I've made have only put me in trouble. Even though I was trying to do it to get out of trouble, it just created more consequences as I go along in my maturity journey. So I just realized that I need to be a little bit more vulnerable and a little bit more honest in what I do and hold myself accountable.
I agree. And to that point, we say that this podcast is therapy, right? Like, we want the women who are in the room to feel safe to share their experiences. And as a woman who's been in a relationship with a man who did not, or a couple of them, who did not necessarily want to hear what you have to say when it's about them, being able to come to a place like this can be therapeutic. Because you can say, not about any particular man, what your experiences are, and then the men in the room can hear the exact same thing they're doing from another woman who's experiencing a variation of the same thing. And then they'll be like, that's fucked up. I can't believe he did that. And you'll be looking at him like, you was doing that that was like yesterday. But that situation allows you to air your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions in a form where you aren't met with resistance. We're not going to tell you we don't give a shit about what you're talking about right now. We're not going to tell you that. We're going to say thank you. We appreciate your experiences, your comments, your stories. And to Shawn's point, what you practice becomes who you are. So if you're a man who has practiced for the last 10, 15, 20 years lying to women, or being unfaithful, or having lots of partners and not being open and transparent with the people that you're interacting with, when you get married, do you think you're just going to magically stop? Does that make sense? You're going to be who you've been practicing. And if that means you're a cheater, that means you're a liar, that's who you have been practicing being. So it's super, super, extra, super important that from this day forward, we practice who we want to be. Because that's who we're going to be. When shit hits the fan, when anything's rough, when it matters, when the butterflies wear off, when the honeymoon phase is over, we're going to be the person we've been practicing being. So if that person isn't your end goal, a lot of people tell themselves, this is fine, I'm going to have this whole phase, right? But that whole phase lasts 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. You're going to get married and still be a hoe. Seriously. So that was not the initial plan to talk about, but it's relevant. So we're here. So that's my little 2 cents on the whole, on what Cash initially said. Now, Kevin, Shawn, you both still have to do your best head crack impersonations for the Move Better segment.
Wait. I want to comment on that.
Go ahead. I want to come behind you.
Right. So I know last week, I think it was, we spoke about trained behavior. And one of the things that's necessary is to look at this from both angles and making sure that we're not training our partner to have bad behavior. One of the things Shawn said is that as a child, he would lie to get out of trouble. So if he felt like he was going to get in trouble, then he would lie. In our relationships, personal relationships, it's important not to be the person that if you hear something you don't like, that you go crazy, you snap, you get loud, you yell, because what you're doing is you're training your partner to either accept this verbal abuse or lie to me, and then I'll act the same way. I'll act right.
Wow. That's deep. That's deep.
It's important
That's deep.
that we do it and we make sure that our partner does it when they say something to us that we don't like, don't want to hear, that we're the person that can talk about it. We can speak about it. What would be better the next time, or how that makes me feel, instead of just snapping. Because when you snap, when you go off, it's just like the child with the parent. You don't want to get in trouble, so you'll tell them what they want to hear so that you can get the response that you want to. But if you can breathe for a moment, stay even keel, and speak back to the person like an adult, a lot of times you can find out something you didn't know. We can get past these issues, and that very well may be the last time that you experience it. But if you snap, you're training your partner to, hey, to avoid this, don't tell me anything that I don't want to hear.
Wow.
And the way that life works, everything doesn't work out the way that you want it to. So you're going to have to hear some things that you don't want to hear. How you deal with it determines how many times you're going to hear that. Make sense?
Very true. That's some good shit right there. You had a comment on the...
So has anybody seen the movie A Few Good Men with Tom Cruise and Jack Nicholson?
You can't handle the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
That's not true, though.
But I mean, it's a matter of if you can, because if you can't handle the truth, then you have to assess the situation and be like, okay, whoever I'm dealing with next time, if I want this to blossom into a relationship or into something more, is who I'm talking to, who I'm communicating with. Am I going to be in a vulnerable space to accept whatever this person is going to tell me? Right. That's going to be a potential husband, a potential mate, a potential spouse to me.
Evaluating that up front.
You know what I mean? Like, are you going to be able to handle things like, I'm a very straightforward person. Are you going to be able to handle a person that's going to, or a man, ladies in the crowd, are you going to be able to handle a person or a man that's going to say, hey, I date, I'm bisexual, or I have a past? Are you going to be able to handle that? Or are you going to be, how are you going to react to that? You know, and to like the gentleman's point is, and I'm glad that you brought that up about breathing. And that's one of the things that I taught about.
Woosah moments.
You know, that my therapist talked about is taking 3 steps, 3 beats before you can even react or respond. That's what I said on the Portia show. When I was on Portia's show on Fox 5, shout out to Portia Bruner, I said, hey, don't respond to, you know, when you talk to somebody, don't listen to respond, listen to understand. Because when you listening to a person, you pretty much just gathering information, you gathering data about that person, about that individual, and you just kind of seeing where their head is at, what their personality is like, and, you know, you just kind of seeing for who they are, because it's like the class is saying, when somebody show you for who they are, you what? You believe them. You believe them. So instead of judging that person or reacting so quick to that person, just listen to that person and decide for yourself if you want to really want to be with that person and communicate with them on a continuous basis, or don't deal with them at all. So I believe transparency goes a long way in the art of communication.
I agree. I will say, you said something that we're going to touch on later, so I'm going to not spend a bunch of time on that. But I do want to say this, and this came up with my conversation with Cash in advance of this podcast regarding the concept of men especially, not just, none of this is relevant to only one gender. But the name of this podcast is The Way of Kingz, so we are talking to men here. Men specifically, a lot of times when lying, will do so under the front or guise of trying to protect you. So I didn't want to hurt you. I didn't want to upset you. Some variation thereof. When in reality, that sounds good. And it taps into their instinct of protection and security. The reality is, it is an attempt to protect themselves. That is the truth. Because they do not want to deal with your reaction to whatever they did. Or whatever they're planning to do. Or whatever the foolishness is. And by saying, well, I didn't want to hurt you, that's a way that it's like the blankie. It's cold and you need to pull the blankie on to make yourself feel secure as you lie. Lying is just not okay, and it doesn't matter what the relationship is. But that brings us, which, not ready to do that yet, but that brings us to the main meat and potatoes of today's topic. Number one, men in the room, men that will hear this later. We understand why you're lying, just like Shawn pointed out earlier. From childhood, you've been taught lying gets you away from dealing with shit you don't want to deal with immediately, right? Like immediately, if you lie, then you don't get in trouble for stealing the cookie out of the cookie jar. It comes back to bite you. And maybe you got away with it the first time and one of your siblings took the blame. But in relationships, especially as grown adults with men and women, that shit comes back to bite you in the ass. You might get away with it for a little bit of time, but eventually it will come back because women are not stupid and we're extremely intuitive. So we know when something's wrong or off. So save yourselves the trouble and just stop. That's before we really dig into different solutions to some of the things men may want to do that doesn't necessarily fit into on the beaten path. I want to go to Kevin for his Move Better head crack impersonation.
Well, the one thing I want to say in Move Better is that we have an opportunity to start all of our relationships on the right foot, so to say, whether it be a business relationship, personal relationship, intimate relationship. Our communication is very important to setting the base or the standard for how things are going to go. And one of the things that Mr. Garvey said is that if you are upfront about what you want, what you would like, what your dislikes are, there is someone for you. Matter of fact, there's a lot of people for you. It's probably a whole group of people that are in that same thing, whatever it is that you're about. The idea of starting off saying that I'm about one thing, knowing good and well that you're about something else, is really just a setup for problems later. How much of a problem, how big of a problem, that's yet to be determined, but it still is going to be a problem. And last week we were talking about the fact that there are no such thing as large things.
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of little things that are built up to make it seem large.
Snowball.
And if you skip all of the small things, then yes, you're going to have some large things. And that's one of those things when you're at the beginning of any type of relationship and you neglect to share relevant information, then that's a small thing. The next thing that you forget to share, it's a small thing. And it adds up and it adds up, and sooner or later you're going to have a problem. So in us moving better, especially when we're establishing relationships, and not that you can't do this if you're already in a relationship, because you can, for lack of a better term, start over. But you say the things that you want, that you don't want, that you like, that you don't like. Whether the person likes it or not, it kind of sets the standard for, hey, this is how we're going to proceed further. This is how we're going to move. This is how our relationship should go. And you always have that base to refer back to. The other thing is that all of us change.
Yeah.
I know I'm not the same person that I was 10 years ago. And I'm sure I won't be the same person in 10 years from now. That presents another opportunity. When we met, I used to like to do this, that, and the other. Now, not so much. And that's not a bad thing, because all of us grow, all of us change, all of us go through different cycles in life, whether it's due to hormones, due to experiences, due to loss, or due to something that you gained. You might be in a different financial bracket. You don't do the same things you used to do. A lot of those things are important, but again, communication is easy in the sense that we have an opportunity to lay a foundation and make sure that everything from that point forward relates back to that foundation. Got it?
Being transparent up front.
Transparent up front.
Agreed. So, guys, we are at the part where you guys share your thoughts, feelings, perspectives, experiences, and feel free to do so on the topic of communication and transparency, period. But because this podcast is to develop real men, which we established in episode 1, real is reliable, responsible and reliable, earnest and trustworthy, accountable leaders. That is what that acronym stands for. What role does communication and transparency play in a man being, becoming, living a real man? What does that look like? What effect does that have? What is you all's experience, thoughts, feelings on that subject?
Yeah,
Come on, cuz.
Mike, where the mic? Right there. Come to this mic. Yeah.
All right.
Well, you got to be on the mic because we can't get on the recorder.
What makes a real man? First and foremost, holding down your tribe. If you got kids and you're not providing for them, I can't call you no man. If you got kids and I got 4. I got 4 baby mamas too. But they all love me though. Every last one, I swear for God, they all get along and they all love Donovan. You know what I'm saying? And all my kids, they got siblings on, you know what I'm saying, like half siblings on other sides too. And they all
So it's a
get
whole
along.
tribe.
It's a whole tribe. And what make a man is you gotta hold down your tribe. That's what make a man, holding down your tribe. Simply what make a man.
And how does I agree with the fact that holding down your tribe, but what does that look like? What's the tangible, practical application of that? Because today's topic is communication and transparency. So you say holding it down, there's a lot of room for interpretation in that. So to you, what does that mean?
Bringing your kids together, especially from my perspective, if I got kids from multiple women,
Right.
bringing those kids together so they see their siblings, making sure that they all know each other and interact with each other, and don't exclude nobody's
Don't exclude
kids.
anybody.
Don't
That's true.
exclude nobody's kids. Because if I say, for instance, if I go to one of my baby mama's house, because they kind of stay kind of
In proximity.
Like say, for instance, if I got to go to
You
Alabama,
set that up well.
right? If I got to go to Alabama, right? Say, for instance, if I got to go to Alabama to see my daughter's mama, right?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Her mama got 3 other kids.
Okay.
I'm not going to exclude them out of anything.
I agree.
I'm not just going out there to see my daughter. I'm going out there to see my daughter and her 3 sisters. And do everything that I'm doing for my daughter for the 3 sisters too. Because that's because I want to. I don't want nobody's other kids. I don't want no other kids looking at my kid like, dang, your daddy doing it. My daddy, nah. You ain't got to worry about all that.
So
When I come in
unifying
door,
the family is important, is how
family
you see
is
that.
highly important.
So let me ask you a question. With having the 4 baby moms that you have, and how many children? 4. What role does communication and or transparency play in your ability to juggle all of that and or be not only a good dad, but also co-parent with 4 different women?
Well, what do you think they need to know? What do you think they
Well, that's
need
what
me
I'm
to be
asking you.
transparent with?
That's what I'm asking you.
Like, I'm just.
You're the one.
that's what I'm
Okay, so
asking,
I
like-
don't have 4 different baby mamas. So I don't have the ability to properly, but I have been a single mom, and I do have 2 dads for my 3 children. And I know for the one who is intentionally co-parenting, there's a lot of communication that has to happen. I mean, there's certain, and I will say this, and it kind of goes back to what Kevin was saying, like, there's some foundational stuff, right? Like, there's stuff that you talk about in the beginning and major intervals that allows you to be successful through the course of time, where you don't have to talk about it all the time. However, when you're going to see the children, what things are allowed, what they're allowed to eat, not eat, what they're allowed to wear, especially when you're talking about teenage girls, because, oh, my goodness. So my 15-year-old comes down the stairs day before yesterday, in what looked like Skims, but might have been Lululemon something, but it was shorts and a zip up. It's 30 degrees outside, mind you, and she wants me to take her on some errands, and I'm like, sure, as soon as you go put on some clothes. But Mommy, these are clothes. No, sweetie, those don't qualify as clothes. Go put on pants. And then she proceeds to continue to argue with me about how her clothes were sufficient. And I was like, sure, you can stay home. Dress just like that. So believe me, I understand. But that means that me and her dad need to be on the same page and communicate about what is allowed and what's not. Because imagine the dynamic where the baby's at your house and you let her wear X. She's at Mom's house and she lets her wear Z. Now, as we all know, dealing with teenagers is like dealing with small hostile terrorist nations. You're going to end up having a conflict because she's going to be like, well, Daddy lets me wear this. Again, communication. So that's an example as a mom who co-parents. So when I'm asking you, what role does that play for you in your situation and even in your relationships? Because I'm assuming, even though you have 4 baby moms, unless you're in a relationship with one of them. None of them. Okay. So that means
so much easier that way.
It's so much easier that way. Okay. So, and you date, though. You still, sort of. Okay.
Even with my baby mamas, but we ain't together, though.
No, I get that. But you date
but we ain't together.
Other women.
Yeah.
New women.
Yeah.
He's single. Everybody got that? Single. All right. So, so the question becomes, what role does communication play for you in your dating, in your co-parenting, in your life? Because that's what the topic of today's podcast is. And part of the reason it's a topic is because of how much it's missing from most people's relationships. So I'd love to hear your perspective.
All right. So you laid out a lot of topics there. Or what you want to hear my perspective on.
Yes.
Let's start with the first one.
Okay.
Dating, right? Mm-hmm. Now, when it comes to dating, who would I need to be transparent with if I'm single?
Are you dating?
Yes.
Anybody want to answer that question? Go ahead, Kiwi. No, Kiwi, you got to go on the mic, Kiwi. And we got to see this gorgeous outfit you're wearing. Come on.
I told her she put herself together tonight. Put herself together.
Right.
I don't have any children.
Okay.
But if I were in in the child's mother situation, I think the transparency in regards to specifically dating would be because of the people that you're around. So people you're around, the kids are going to be around. You know, if you're, that's all relevant. You know what I'm saying? And that's not just, I think, something that the one parent has to be mindful of. I think both
Very
parents
true.
need to be mindful of the company they keep and the company they keep around their kids. I was about to say, I don't want to argue.
Thank you, Kiwi. All right. Anybody else want to answer the question? What is your name? I'm sorry.
I'm Donovan.
Donovan? That Donovan asked, what role does transparency play in dating? Go ahead, Tiona. I've been waiting for this. Come on.
I just really think that depends on your intention.
Okay.
Like, what are your intention of dating this person? Are you dating this person to actually be in a relationship, to get married, or just to see him for one night? So, like, you can tell anybody anything you want them to tell, just to, to kind of get what you want out of the situation. But
You can.
yeah.
Are you laying down game here? Are you soliciting for dates?
Experience, right? Just based off my experience, right? A lot of women I deal with, we ain't taking everything so serious. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you're going to be with me or whatever, you're going to have to be with me and only me. You don't have to, wah. Don't no man feel like dealing with that.
Wait, say the last part again.
Well, go to the mic. Go to the mic. To the mic.
Say that last part because I couldn't hear it. After
What,
you
don't
said,
no man feel like dealing with that miss?
Yo, that's what you said.
What men don't feel like dealing with?
Yes, that sentence.
All right, so when it comes to dating, we shouldn't have to explain ourselves or what we doing with the next person or the next person, because if we dating without the intention of marriage, I'm not dating with the intention of marriage. You gonna have to really, someone gonna have to spark that energy for real to be like, oh, I think I might marry her. But until then, I'm not dating marry nobody.
Right,
Okay.
and see, that's not a problem. As long as you're transparent with that up front.
Absolutely.
And so if you're telling a person like, look, I'm not going to, I don't want to say where I'm at this time of day, where I'm at, what I did last night, so on and so forth.
But see, that's my thing. You got to let them know you. If you're a Rolling Stone, you got to let them know off the bat.
And that's
you're a
fine.
Rolling
That's
Stone.
transparency.
That's transparency and communication. And that's the point that we're talking about. Whatever it is, there's plenty of people that's in agreement with that. So it's fine for you to say that. The problem comes in when you pretend as though you're dating for marriage or a serious relationship, and then the person later finds out that that's not the case. That's
the type of stuff you don't want to mess with nobody born in the rooster year like that, because they might murder you.
Right. No. That's actually the point that I was getting to. The 6 o'clock news is full of people who really
might murder you.
Who really said one thing and then did something else, and they're playing with somebody's feelings, emotions, or things of that nature. And you don't know how a person will respond. But if you're upfront and allow the person to understand what it is that they should expect from you, then they walk into this relationship, however non-serious it is, full knowing, what to expect, and that's it. So that's all we're saying.
And that's the goal. And that's the goal, right? Because if you go into dating, right, with like, man, you ain't finna take none of this too serious or whatever, then eventually somebody, whoever you dating, right, somebody is gonna inch closer to you over time. You could be dating this and that person or whatever, but you ain't even got to start off with the intention to marry. If you're gonna marry that person, then that energy gonna come natural. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gotta meet somebody like, hey, I wanna date you, maybe get married one day. It ain't never gonna work. I've been
never?
through two.
Never? Okay. Ladies in the room, Carmen. Come on out, Carmen.
I got something to say after this person speaks. I got something to say.
Have any one of you, just real quick, cuz?
Yeah, go for it, cuz.
Have any one of you in here met somebody the first time you met them and be like, I'm a date this person and I might marry them one day? Anybody in here? Show of hands. Anybody?
Wait, Kiwi, you don't got a mic. Hold on. We're trying to adjust to make sure you guys can be heard.
Right, and again, I think we're debating something that's not being argued. No one's saying that you have to go into it with this intention or that intention. Whatever intention you have, just make it clear. That's the only thing that we're saying. Communication, transparency is important to not end up on the 6 o'clock news, which you said. So I agree.
Or the first 48.
Right.
Or that. Or is it snapped? Snapped.
Oh, Lord. But yeah, no, I was just going to say, I think, like, basically, I forgot what I was going to say now.
Well, Carmen's ready.
Yeah, because...
We'll think on that.
Donovan's become the mic bearer.
So I don't mean to retire you, but I'm gonna retire you now. You can go.
Thank you, Carmen. Thank you, Carmen.
Hi, my name's Carmen. I'm from Atlanta. I'm born and raised here. I didn't immigrate here. I've lived here my entire life. So I've seen the dating scene change many, many, many times. I won't tell you how old I am, but my oldest daughter is 24 years old.
You look amazing, ma'am.
Thank you. So I just want to bring up a few key points that I heard today, starting with, what's the guy's name? Cash.
With the hat?
Cash talked about childhood lying and stuff like that. Do you remember Frank Ocean? Anybody remember Frank Ocean?
Yes.
Remember that song? He said, I'm living in the idea of another man's mind. Does anybody remember that?
Yes.
So as you grew up as a child, your parents told you things like, don't take gifts from men. They told you that you have to be respectable and you have to dress a certain kind of way. But when you started growing and you started meeting other people, you had different ideas and you started thinking what you wanted to do, correct?
Right. Yes.
And me as a parent, from a teenager to adult children,
Right.
you must understand that as you go through life, La and I do something every night, and it's a Hawaiian mantra. And the Hawaiian mantra is forgiveness for yourself, right? If you never forgive yourself for all the childhood trauma that you experienced, you will inflict that on everybody that you meet.
Very true.
At work, the people you having sex with. Because you got to remember, these are spiritual ties. No matter how many people you knocking down, right?
Knocking down.
You're imposing something upon them.
Correct.
And family is not a big deal anymore. If you all have noticed, no matter if you're political, spiritual, you know, all the things, right? The spirit of man today is, oh, we're going to go out and do whatever we want to do. Correct?
Very true.
And that's what it's about. So family, on the other hand, relationships are work, acts of kindness.
Yes.
I mean, we could go on and on about these things, correct? And there is no selflessness anymore. It's only about what you want. And that's good because you have to make yourself happy. But how can you be in a relationship if you never forgave yourself for being angry at your mom or your dad?
Right.
Or being angry at your brother or anybody. It could be anybody. Somebody could have left you on the side of the road and you dragging that stuff.
Yeah. It's okay. You can say shit.
Okay. Throughout your whole life. And then it's like, how are you going to develop into a relationship that's healthy? Every night we get on live. We do the forgiveness. We progress and rewrite. I don't get up early enough to recreate, but that's fine.
Rise and create in the morning.
And I was telling her that I knew about the Hawaiian mantra, which is, which one to use? Thank you, please forgive me. I love you, and I'm sorry.
Please forgive me. I'm sorry.
That sounds so simple.
It is.
But if you were to get up every day and you were to do those positive things and you started your day off like that, no matter what your religion is, no matter what you believe.
Very true.
I'm from Atlanta. I know what being a player is. And the definition of that is you can do what you want to do, but you open about it and you can still do it.
Yes. Yes.
To hide it, you're a coward.
Yes. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord Jesus. And y'all know I'm not even, my religion is supreme ownership.
And what I'm telling you is, all I'm saying is this, okay? And I tell my children all the time, the choices you make today will affect your future tomorrow. Karma is real. Your life is real. Your exchanges with people are real.
Yes.
The intention that you leave with one woman to another woman to the next woman all follows you back, because no matter how you see it, things are following you in your character. Your character is who you are. Your reputation is what you put out.
Yep.
And that's it.
Thank you, Carmen. That was amazing.
I gotta come back.
Go ahead, Shawn.
All right.
You don't have to raise your hand because you're on the panel.
I know. I know. I feel like I'm in a classroom.
You feel like in a classroom?
All right. So let me ask the fellas in the audience: have any of you all been rejected since grade school by a girl, by a female? I'm gonna raise my hand.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I've been rejected, and I've been put in the friend zone so many times for telling the truth. Now, there's a such thing as people want to hear a beautiful lie and not the ugly truth.
But wait, Sean.
Okay.
We haven't got to that yet.
Okay, we haven't got. I know you're going.
After the halftime show, we're going to do that. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay. The kitchen is about to close.
Okay.
30 minutes? 10:30.
10:30.
The kitchen is going to close at 10:30. I had the blackened salmon rasta pasta. It was amazing. I recommend it. Drinks will still be available, right? Okay. So drinks will still be available. I'm on my second carafe of so Rich and Poor, POUR, co-founder Miss Tiana in the building. Has made an incredible concoction of watermelon and green apple. And she called it something that I was supposed to know from Nickelodeon from having children, and I'm ashamed apparently because I don't know what it is. But it's amazing. So Cash knows I'm not the parent who watched Nickelodeon with my children. Boo. Right, boo, apparently. But I did a lot of other things. So I'm gonna give myself credit for that. But amazing mimosas, $5 a glass, $15 a carafe. Get a carafe because, like, why not? You go anywhere else. You pay $15 for just one drink. So if you haven't ordered, get your food before the kitchen closes. And thank you to the Real Milk and Honey, our sponsors, for inviting us out and hosting this event with us every Tuesday night. Thank you. Everybody give a round of applause to the Real Milk and Honey. We got Miss Kennedy, Miss Unique, Miss Tiana. Chef Jason is not here tonight. And there's some people that I don't know the names of, and I apologize now, but thank you for doing everything you do. You all create an amazing, we have our own menu. I used to say we have breakfast, brunch for dinner, and now they made us dinner. Guys, that's amazing. So we are about to get ready for our halftime show. And while Ms. Kiwi and DJ Supreme get set up for that, I want us to, because I don't want to dive too deep into what we're doing next, but I will say to what Donovan said, and I think Kevin might have touched on this and Carmen might have as well. When it comes to dating, right, even as you're dating multiple people, I think I did a post a couple years ago on Instagram that just said that, tell people that. Like, you're not the only one, especially women. Because we have a tendency to become very attached to men quickly. But it's because of who we are. We're like built that way, right? So, number one, by saying, you're one of a few options that I'm considering at the moment, you let him know, work harder. Put forth some more fucking effort. Which always works out for us, right? But also you're being transparent. You're not the only person that I'm dealing with. And men do the same thing. And you say, look, I'm at a stage in life, and a lot of us have had a roster phase where we have 6 or 7, No? Brittany's like, no. 2 or 3, 6 or 7 guys, women, whatever the case might be, where you are entertaining. And it doesn't mean that you're having a sexual relationship with all these people. It just means that you're entertaining some version of companionship, right? And it's important for not only the person that you're prospectively interacting with to know what your intentions are. Are you someone who is looking for a long-term relationship, marriage? Or are you looking for fun? Or are you looking to hook up? Are you looking for some variation thereof? That is important, but also letting them know where you are in that process. So if they are genuinely interested, ladies, this is what my recommendation. If this man is genuinely interested in you, one of two things are going to happen. He's going to step the fuck up, or he'll close that shit down. He will do something, be something, behave in such a way to make sure that you are off the market. Or, like Carmen said, if that prospect of you dating other men scares you and you're a coward, then you can back off because you didn't need that anyway. We don't want to date men who are scared of what we got going on. It's possessiveness, it's bitch assness. There's a list. Go ahead.
Let him speak first.
Right. Yeah, so one of the things that we speak about each week is that we want to make sure that our language stays positive so that both sides actually receive the ideas.
This was super positive.
Right. So when we get to the point of, and no matter how true or not we may feel it is, when we get to the point of calling people cowards or bitch asses or something like that, you lose a lot of people as it pertains to receiving the idea. So if we could all practice to make sure that we share it in the most positive manner so we can get
How do
the
you
best.
say coward in the most positive manner? Help us out, Kevin.
You don't. You say no, literally, you say the opposite. You say what the person is trying to be, not what they're trying not to be.
What is a coward trying to be?
In other words, trying to be brave is the opposite of not being a coward.
So how do you say that statement?
You say, hey, we want to make sure that what we're developing on the Real Men podcast is how to make kings and so on and so forth, on how to be brave or how to deal with things from a truthful, honest, transparent standpoint. Not how they could not be cowards and not or be a bitch ass or something like that.
So you're saying that we should say that we should say that what we're looking for is for men to be brave.
Right.
Because if we said coward, then they would be offended and then they won't listen.
I'll give an example.
Okay.
When you said that there's a lot of women that would talk to 6 or 7 men and they let it be known up front that, hey, I'm talking to quite a few different people. And if he's not a man, or if he doesn't, then he's a coward. If he doesn't still want to talk to her when she lets him know up front that he's a coward. I'm saying, if I talk to a female and she says, hey, I'll let you know I'm talking to 4 or 5 different people, I'm backing out immediately. And I'm not a coward. I'm not afraid of the competition or things of that nature.
I was just going to say,
wait. Let's hear this out. Why, just because you met her yesterday, you didn't have any opportunity to do anything before then, and she says, hey, this is what's going on, because I'm being transparent.
That's fine.
No, I'm asking. Why do you back out?
No, because that's not what I'm looking for. Meaning she's telling me what she has looking for and what she wants to find in these different 6, 7 men that she's talking to or whatever, and that's fine. It's nothing wrong with that.
So we're talking about two different things. I'm not saying, if I say I'm in the process of going on random dates.
Right.
Maybe I went to a speed dating event like the Love Rekindle had, right?
Right.
And from that event, I set up 3 or 4 dates.
Right.
Because she said that she went on these 3 or 4 dates.
Right.
You're not going to talk to her.
No. If she's still dating those 3 or 4 people, no, fine. Deal with them. Like, come up with whatever you got to come up with. I'll be focused on someone who wants to try one at a time. Now, that's just my preference. And again, it's not because
it's the process of the fact that more than one is happening at a time, and it's not that she's not looking for marriage or a relationship or whatever. She's not saying that. She's saying that this is her process of elimination.
And that's fine.
And you're saying that generally speaking, you're not interested.
There's nothing wrong with that. That's perfectly fine.
I'm clarifying.
For her. It's not perfectly fine for me.
Okay, cool. And I'm asking why. That's my question.
And honestly, why? The type of time and attention that I want to put in a relationship, I want to be sure that that's the same type of time and attention that's coming back to me. Not that it's being split. And when I'm putting my energy or effort or my time towards someone, I want that same in response. I don't want to call and you say, hey, I'll get back to you in a few hours because you're talking to somebody else. If that's cool, talk with them. That's their business.
So I meet you.
That's fine.
So
but it's not
so
my
question.
thing.
I meet you today, but I've already been talking to Sharif.
Right.
I'm supposed to cut Sharif off because I met you today so that you would feel better?
No, you don't have to cut Sharif off.
Just verifying.
I will.
Who said
why you have to?
Listen.
Well, why you have to disclose?
I'm not saying cut Sharif off.
Why you have to disclose? Well, why you have to disclose that though?
We can't hear everybody. Hold on. Hold on. Because we're supposed to be going to the halftime show. So DJ, come on.
Without no Kendrick Lamar. Without no Kendrick Lamar.
We couldn't hear you. Okay.
We're talking about transparency. What Jonathan was saying is he doesn't necessarily, in his experiences, like we talked about last week, no lie generalization. Experiences, he doesn't know a lot of women who come forward and are transparent, like, hey, I like you, we're cool, I got this going on, just so you know.
That's kind of the point.
Him know is that, like, the reciprocity in situations like that comes from you.
Yes. Yes.
You have to be.
Lead by example. Very true.
Right.
So if you're expecting, if you have an experience, start doing in and of yourself.
Yes.
Watch how you put that energy out and start having that be the exact thing that you attract to yourself.
Very true.
Like I've met a lot of women that like upfront will tell you what they got going on because they don't want no confusion.
Right.
They don't understand how shit is out here. It's like I cannot be honest with you about what's going on and you call up with some shit like my boy Trouble just went through a couple years ago. You feel what I'm saying? Like this man is dealing with a woman who was dealing with a dude who still got a key to the house or something. So it's like there should have been a lot more transparency in the situation so that everybody would know how to move and when they ended up on the demise being a part.
Right, and if both parties are in agreement with, hey, I'm going to talk to other people, you're going to talk to other people, then that's fine. You're going to talk to other people, I'm not going to talk to someone else, that's fine. As long as there's communication and transparency. But just the fact that you don't agree with the same thing that the other person doesn't agree with, that's why you communicate. So if that's not your...
So wait, y'all actually, so this is a real, like, you know about this too? Okay. Okay. Okay, so our producer is reminding us that we are ready for the halftime show. So we're going to pick up this very excited, interesting conversation as soon as the halftime show is over.
Yeah. All right, there we go. How's everybody doing? Good. I'm doing well myself. And my name is Kiwi. I do go by also your favorite fruit snack.
Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
I said the real fruit snack. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Favorite fruit snack.
And I know we got a lot of kings in here. Got a lot of queens.
Okay.
And we all go hard, right? We either going hard or we going home. That's what I heard. Who knew we'd ever get this far from where we started? Been through the rain, been through the storms, been broken hearted. No matter what's or what, we always do what we're able. No matter what's or what, you know what we came for. Yeah, we going so hard. You see it, they ready, they fucking with us all. Go so hard, but they ready, they messing with us all. We go hard or go home. We go hard or go home. 'Cause we go on so hard, but they ready, they messing with us all. Standing on the couch, see that it's found. When we come around, celebrate with rounds. Yeah, check the weather now, it's my season. Ain't no competition, no competing. 'Cause we go so hard. And when we come through, you know we stars. We took the path and went so far. When we've been grinding from the start. 'Cause when it comes to the fake, we don't bother. If times get harder, we go harder. When it comes to the faker, we don't bother. If times get hard, yeah, we going so hard. But they ready, they messing with us all. Oh, so hard. But they ready, they messing with us all. We go hard or go home. what? You know what we came for. And again, my name is Kiwi. That song is available on all platforms. Kiwi with 2 eyes. But now we gonna ride out. Cause it's a safe place to release. Come follow me. See what it could be. If only for the weekend. Baby, we can ride out. Maybe we can rise out. Wanna dip like right now for the weekend. Don't you wanna see the ocean? Plenty crisp, clean and open. Travel, buddy, you've been chosen only for the weekend. This ain't all I need. The sand beneath my feet. So I'll risk everything if only for the weekend. Maybe we can ride out. Maybe we can rise out. Wanna dip like right now on the weekend. Maybe we can ride out. Maybe we can rise out. Wanna dip like right now. Weekend. All inclusive, please. Don't disturb me, please. Balcony indeed. Only for the weekend. It's way past time to fly out. Taking risk and we know doubt. And we come in with all that. Only for the weekend. But yes, guys, we riding out. We rode out. That's vacation music. But yes, I have a little surprise. I don't know if some people may know, but I did write the song right out. I wrote the song hard, and I go hard, as you can see. So I also have a book. It's called The Ride of Your Life. You know, get it, ride out, The Ride of Your Life. And basically, it's a workbook. It's a table read, and it's going to be pretty much a comparison on how people drive, how they live. So if you're kind of like a reckless or risky driver, that might be, you know, how you navigate life. Could be, could not be, right? Then, right. But the thing is, too, everybody has a different mode of transportation on the highway of life. Some people are walking, some people on a bike, some people are driving, some people are driving luxury, some people are being driven, some people are in a plane, some people are on a bus, some people are in traffic. Exactly. Some people are hitchhiking. So it's just kind of talks about that and kind of helps you see where you at and finding out where your destination is.
That is such a clever concept.
Thank you.
How do people find your book?
So the book is online on Amazon, but you can find my music as well as my book at kiwiworld.com. That's Kiwi with 2 eyes.
Kiwi World?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Thank you, Kiwi. We really
Thank
think
you.
did an amazing job. Thank you so much. Now, to pick up our very spirited conversation that we had before we went to our halftime show, I want to clarify something with Kevin because I don't want to leave this on the table. If you being what if you're talking? You never talk to more than one woman at a time?
You said what?
You never talk to more than one woman at a time? Even being transparent? Like, why don't put me on the spot like that? I'm asking because your response to the idea that you meet Carmen or you meet Brittany, right, today. And Brittany was talking to Donovan. Carmen was talking to... Wait, who never leaves?
Right. Okay. And that's fine.
Okay. That's an interesting concept. That's hilarious. False flames. Donovan has a clinical term. wait, Carmen. Before we do that, the initial question is to Claire. Before we ask how do we get rid of the extra people, I want to. But that's the clarification I want to make first. Because what Kevin said before the break was that if a woman is talking to another man, even just one, I think she actually wants to know for real. But what I'm saying is, so we're clear before we move forward in answering that question, because I think you got a fan club over there. Mm-hmm. I think what I'm wondering is if a woman, if I, like I said, if I'm talking to Sharif, and you meet me today, and you're like, you hot, I want to talk to you. You're not going to talk to me because I'm talking to Sharif?
Correct.
So I need to, you're just because he got here faster. I don't have the opportunity to say, Sharif is cool, but no offense, Sharif. Sharif is cool. However, I like you better. I don't get that opportunity because as soon as you found out that I was having another conversation with somebody else before you got here, you're out. There's no conversation about it, no opportunity to pick. Just
right. Listen, I don't think y'all understand what I'm saying.
That's why I'm asking.
Here's the situation. If that's how you deal with men and you're talking to somebody else and you say, hey, but I want to talk to you too, I'm sure there's a number of men here.
But we're not saying necessarily two.
Okay.
That's the question. This can be easily an either or situation. So if you and I are just me and I am currently entertaining Sharif or Hurricane. Hurricane's married, happily married. But generally speaking, that doesn't necessarily mean that Sharif and I are planning to get married tomorrow or next week, or even that I'm feeling that situation. So just because I am talking to someone doesn't mean that I necessarily want to continue that. So what you're saying is you won't even come into the situation and say, hey,
okay, all right, let me do this.
If you're going to entertain more than one man,
this is something that I was going to talk on later as it pertains to when you're having a serious discussion, just so the person is not saying the same thing over and over again, to repeat back what you understand first. So I'm going to repeat back my understanding.
Okay.
I understand that you're saying that if you and Sharif are talking, and you and Sharif may or may not be planning to get married or anything of that nature, y'all just talking. And I come and talk to you, and I say, hey, I think you're hot. I want to talk to you. Right. And you say, hey, okay, but I'm also talking to Sharif.
I've been talking to Sharif for the last 2 weeks.
Right. So now I have the proper understanding, right?
Okay.
All right. So it's not necessary to repeat it to me again.
Okay.
All right. I got a proper understanding. I say, thank you for telling me that. I hope you and Sharif ought to do success. If you and Sharif stop talking or whatever the case is, let me know.
Okay, I can respect that.
That's it.
The impression that I was getting initially was like, you talking to him? Okay, yeah, I'm good. I'm out.
That's what I just said.
But there's a difference with you saying, let me know if that ends. There is a difference between let me know if that ends and there's no future for us ever because you met somebody before me.
Now, let me respond to the sister's question. How do you clear your
cash,
roster, so to say?
Clear your cash and cookies.
Right. In other words, if I'm talking to someone, it comes to an end. I'm talking to someone, it comes to an end, and now I have someone else that I want to talk to. If I'm serious about the new person that I want to talk to, I stop talking to the old person. That's it.
Yes.
We are talking about
relationships, companionships,
the thing that we established before, that we established earlier, was that communication is key in establishing this relationship. So if you're going to be speaking to more than one person, say that. If you're only speaking to this one person, say that.
Wait. Let's get you a mic so we can hear you because we can't hear you.
Right.
But
if
it's
get on the mic.
We can't
get on the mic. Get on the mic. Get on the mic. Get on the mic. Get on the mic.
But can someone repeat the question because I can't hear the question. Sharif, are we going to be able to hear? Or you want to repeat the question so that we just need to make sure we get it for the recording so we know what he's answering. It's okay. We're going to repeat it. Well, we got it all wrapped around.
And I want to say something behind this young lady after she speaks, if you don't mind. But go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm waiting on you.
You waiting on what?
Because you said you wanted to say something.
I want you to speak.
Well, we was talking about like multiple. If you with talking to multiple people. Damn. If you're talking to multiple people,
okay.
As long as you keep the conversation open, I don't feel no problem with that.
Right.
I really don't, because I mean, you have an option to date who you want to date.
Right.
And until you become serious with something, then you make that factor. And you're like, you know what? This is who I want. This is who I want to be with.
No problem with that.
But dating, everybody should date multiple people. Shoot, find out what the hell you want first.
Right.
Like, I don't think anybody should settle down in one date, this, that, and the third. No, get your behind out there and find what you want. And then when you find it, then settle down with that person. Narrow down, this is what I want. Right. But when you make that commitment real.
Correct.
That's what I believe in.
I agree.
Communication and transparency. That's the exact thing that we've been speaking about.
On that part.
Carmen asked a question. I think you answered it.
Yeah, you can have it.
Right. So, in this day and age, many people are on...
Everybody?
Many people are on dating sites, correct?
Right.
And a lot of people who believe in dating have dating coaches. I have a lot of friends who have dating coaches.
Right.
And those dating coaches tell them serial date until you find someone that's serious about what you want.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So my question to you was, with all these people being on eHarmony, Tinder, Bumble, finding love in a wrong place. Right. I mean, I can go on and on with the things, right? With all the options out here in this wonderful Atlanta that we live in, I even work with people that tell me that they on sites to sell their private parts.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And they're shocked at the people that come to visit them.
Shocked?
And these are men.
We see you. We see you.
I don't know what happened, but
I shook the table. But what I'm saying is, with all the things that go on secretively, correct? At the end of the day, integrity is the question. Right? So for someone to tell you, hey, I'm dating multiple people because I'm on Bumble, I'm on Tinder, I'm on this, I'm on that. Now, I got a friend who was dating on that stuff, and she was like, oh, I got played. And I told her, I said, why do you let someone possess your time that's on a dating site? Because you know that you're just a swipe away from the next person. Right. Now, is that integrity or is that opportunity? And yes, it's greedy, but at the same time, you got to think about the morale of the city you live in. It's fast paced. Everything like this. We don't live in Macon. We not going to Applebee's with one person and Longhorns with the other person we like. Right. But I'm just saying. So, are you going to date the man to take you to House? Or are you going to date the man to take you to Applebee's?
House. Hands down.
But wait. And I'm not saying that to be, I'm not saying that to be pretentious. I'm saying that to say that there are options. You like a fine girl, or you like a girl that's going to drop their mouth open the first night you meet her.
Is that an actual question?
No.
That sounds like a rhetorical.
No. I'm saying you'll meet both in the same night in this city.
Correct. Very true.
It's the morale in the city that you live in which sets the pace and the tone for how you date.
So, Carmen, what is the question that you were asking Kevin so we're clear?
I was asking you, how do you clear the women so that you can date one at a time to make them feel like they the only bitch that exists on the planet?
There you go. Oh, shit.
And then Hurricane and then Shawn.
All right. First of all, if I'm dating, there's not one. It's going to be a couple because I'm going to figure that out. What you're talking about on the TikTok, or not TikTok, Tinder and all that other stuff, I don't go on those sites. So and when I do meet somebody, I actually met them. Like, I didn't go out on a website to do it.
Me too. And we've
Yeah, I'm from Jersey, so like I gotta meet you head on.
Right.
You know, but however, I don't see a problem just dating. Now I'm not saying go out the world and date like 10. I'm like, you know, like 2 or 3, just to put your option out. You know.
So Renee, there's no problem with that. The issue, there's not an issue. What was happening was Kevin was saying that if he meets a woman and she is talking to, even if it's one other man, that he's immediately bowing out and saying, I'm good. He clarified and added that he will say, hey, when that's over, holla at me. Feel free to.
Why would it be that? Why don't you say, you know, I want to holler, I want to talk to you. Don't wait until something. If you want the girl, go for her.
That was the line of questioning.
Go for her.
But Hurricane, I think, wants to answer it.
Go ahead.
So go ahead, Hurricane.
Yeah, I'm like, why would you even do that? Go for her. Like, don't say wait.
I think y'all misunderstanding what the brother's saying altogether. This is a fast-paced city. A lot of people like each other all at one time. He's saying when he meets you, listen now. Kevin is saying, now tell me if I'm wrong, Kevin. You saying when you meet a young lady, if she is willing, if she likes you enough that she is going to make you the priority to get to know you at that individual time, and if at that time she feels open like Renee does and wants to date 2 or 3 people, then you good on her.
I'm good.
Okay.
So do y'all understand what he's saying?
Yes.
He's
but
saying
that doesn't answer the question that they're asking. This is the philosophy, Hurricane. So you're clear, because I think we all have the same thought about it. If I meet you tonight, why would I know that I'm ready to cut everybody off to talk to you?
He didn't say that.
But I would have to.
But what I'm saying, no. What he's saying is, as he gets to, let me talk for you. I'm Kevin Williams, multi-millionaire. Okay. All right.
Hi, Kevin.
So now, all I'm saying is, if he meets you and you are willing, and y'all see eye to eye on moving to another level, Kevin is saying that once we see each other and think that it's a connection, if you still think that you need to entertain other people while we're trying to make this firm connection, then I'm good right now.
Not what he said.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Okay,
what he said.
That's what I got. That's what I got.
Communication is needed.
What's the point?
That makes sense.
That's what he said.
That's exactly what I said.
This is man talk.
No. He didn't say he'll wait. He's saying.
Can I say something, please?
Kevin is saying. Kevin. I'm you. I'm Kevin. If I am good enough when I meet you, you're not listening. See, that's why you got 2, 3 niggas. You ain't even listening. You're not listening. What I'm telling you is, I'm Kevin.
We agree with you.
Okay, well, where's the problem?
So I'm going to clarify for everybody in the room.
Okay, all right.
What you said and what he said was not the same thing.
It's the exact same.
It's the exact same thing.
It might mean the same thing, but he did not say the same thing. And that is why every woman in this room understands exactly what I'm saying. If you meet,
I disagree. See, this is the communication gap between men and women right here.
Because you
I understood what you were saying. You were saying if this woman has
effective. That too.
Okay. Sometimes it might not be as clear for you to understand, but now y'all are asking questions, and that's how we get to the root of the
Which is great, which is why we're here tonight.
It's communication. We're communication and transparency. Thank you.
Thank you for clarifying what the intention was. And then go ahead, Shawn, because I know you've been waiting very impatiently.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I mean, talk about today's conversation. I ain't going to say the other name of the podcast, but we're going to say tonight, Tuesday night's conversation. All right. So I'm going to talk about my experience. Okay. So my experience has been always being put in the friend zone. And men in here, you all know what I'm talking about when a woman puts you in the friend zone. When a woman puts you in the friend zone, she's telling you every other reason why she's putting you in the friend zone. So I put
the right one, other than the true one. Is that what you mean?
Or what they think is the true one, or what they think is the right one for them. Because and I'm just talking about my experience, okay? So brothers like myself, we're kind of categorized as nice guys, as good guys. You're a nice guy, but you live in a different state. You're a nice guy, but you have a different zodiac sign.
You're saying that there's
right.
a bunch of little excuses that aren't the real root of
You know what I mean? But along with that, they do tell you, or at least the women that I talk to say, well, I'm currently talking to somebody, you're a nice guy and everything, but you live in a different state, or, you know, you have a different zodiac sign or what have you. They come up with every different reset. I'm an Aquarius.
You an Aquarius?
I'm an Aquarius.
Who else is all the Aquariuses in the house?
Big shout out to the Aquarians.
Put your hands in the air, waving from here to. Is that how you say that?
But what I'm saying is that when you put a guy in the friend zone, you just keeping them there as a backup in case one of the other two guys or the three guys that you're talking to. I'm just talking about the women that I'm talking to.
I'm telling you that's not the truth.
I know, but I'm saying
it's the other way around. Women do not put men in the friend zone for the purpose of a break in case of emergency. That is what men would like to happen, so they wait and hunt for that. Women put men in the friend zone that we don't want to be in relationships with, that we like as a person, that we might want around, but we don't put you, if we want, because this is the thing.
What is the thing?
If we wanted you in the main zone, you'd be there. And the reality is men, okay.
Oh,
so
okay.
Go. Right.
But no.
Okay,
but I was going to get to that. Let me just. No. Let me get to that. Let me just respond to your point. Mm-hmm. But let me respond real quick before we go to the sister.
I want to hear what she said.
I want to hear what she said.
I want to finish the rest of her
But
comment.
I want to get to your response because I come from a world where we're ingrained to be pimps and players and stuff because I heard it since grade school. I heard it when you had people say, "Oh, you're not a real man if you don't have 3 or 4 women."
But wait a minute. Can we get the beautiful lady in green the mic? Because you mentioned that, so in your experience, you put men in the friend zone that you actually want to be with as a backup?
See, that's the thing. It's not in my experience, right? When you're speaking, you can't just speak for you.
Well, no, I'm asking about you specifically, you personally, because what my experience with the situation is also the experience of a lot of women in this room, if not all. So I'm asking you personally, because there is a difference between men in a friend zone that find themselves in a friend zone and why women put them there. So I'm asking you personally, have you ever or do you ever put men in a friend zone that you actually, not friends with benefits?
We're not doing that, though. That's not what he's saying.
No. I'm asking you personally, because you said that that's not true.
Okay.
Yes, that's what I'm asking. Because you pointed out that my comment was personal to me.
No. I say I agree with him. Right. And what I'm saying is if we are having this, right, we can't just say, hey, it's about me, right? We're talking about men or we're talking about women. Just because you have, let's say I have an experience, right? My experience may be different from another woman in here, right? But I'm saying I agree with him because it is true. You do have women who, let's say I meet him tonight.
Who's
and
Sharif?
I don't know his name. I don't know their names, right?
Right. Sharif is married.
No, that's fine. Like, hey, I met him tonight, and hi, Sharif, and we're kicking it. We're kicking it, right? And I'm like, I like his vibe, right? And then tomorrow, I meet another guy. I like his vibe. Now, at this point, I'm trying to see which one of the two that I want. But just because the other one is better, or I feel like he might be the winner, I'm not going to let him go because it may not work out with this one.
But
so if it doesn't work out with this one, I have him on the side where I can easily slide back over here.
This is the question.
We're not being
I understand
realistic.
what you're saying, but this is what I'm asking. Are you telling Sharif, we can only be friends? Or are you doing what we've pretty much been talking about the whole night, which is you are entertaining that, you're entertaining this, and you're communicating, hey, I'm entertaining that, and I'm entertaining this. I might like this guy more, and I'm keeping you over here in reserve. There is a difference between a full friend zone pivot and that. That's why I'm trying to clarify.
But those things take time. We're talking about it takes time. You don't just meet somebody today and say, oh, yeah, he's the one. That takes time, so I can't be transparent yet because I don't know what this one got going on. What am I going to be transparent to him about? What if he happened to be the right one because this one find out he fuck up? Like, you cannot be transparent up front. I just feel like we have to be realistic.
Did you say you cannot be transparent up front?
We have to.
That's what you said?
Yeah, I'm saying because we don't know. I'm just meeting these people, right? I'm just meeting these people, right? We all knew. We are learning about when I'm trying to get to know him. I'm trying to get to know him. I'm trying to get to know him. It's a race. It's a race.
It's a contact sport. It's a contact sport. That's what it is.
I like that.
Everything in life is a contact sport, even in dating.
Hey, this DJ Big
agree
Spud.
with your
Tell
point.
everybody thank you.
Now,
God bless you. Good night.
But part of why we're here, guys, is that we do need to challenge the behavioral patterns that we collectively as a community have. And one of them is not being transparent. And sometimes it's for fear of maybe misunderstanding what Kevin said earlier and thinking, well, if I tell him this, he's out immediately. Or what Shawn said. What are you saying, Cash?
Go ahead.
Okay. Or what Shawn said, I tell you that I want to date multiple women, I'm bisexual, and you're out, which is a whole nother issue. But the idea is we are here to talk about not only what is going on, but what needs to happen for us to grow and develop in our communities and interact with each other better. Transparency from the beginning allows every party to make an informed decision about, imagine as a woman, and I'm saying this because there's a lot of women in the room, imagine as a woman dating a guy. You're 3, 4, 6 months in, and he says, yeah, I also like men. You are probably ready to murder this man. Probably he's this seconds from dying. Because he should have told you that shit up front.
What?
Nanoseconds.
Right.
Literally.
In a relationship.
And just like guys, if you meet a woman out in public or somebody who looks like a woman, and they're not, or they used to be something else, when do you want to find that out? 2 weeks later?
Shouts to Chingy.
Or immediately?
And that is why transparency in the beginning is so important. I think that what Sister Queen Lisa was pointing out, okay, was that there is a fear of being transparent because of the fear of running off somebody that you're vibing with, connected with, or being rejected.
Run off somebody
but you want to run off anybody who is a vibrational mismatch to who and what you are. The reason why you're being transparent is because you're laying it out that this is the vibrational frequency that I operate on.
Yes.
And if your vibrational frequencies don't mesh and match with this, let's end this now. Or let's adapt this relationship, co-creationship into something that is meaningful and purposeful for what you're doing and what I'm doing, and we meet in the middle. It ain't got to be what I thought it was going to be. Plenty of times I done met a female, connected with her, vibe with her, bring her around all my people, and in the midst of it, there might be somebody else in the midst of here who you connect with on a different level.
Yeah.
And me and you haven't locked in like that to where it's disrespectful or out of bounds for you to like somebody in this room.
Right.
And we all got to be able to respect that.
Yes.
So recognize that transparency is about knowing who you are first. It's about self-knowledge and self-understanding, understanding, and being able to present that first up front so you can run off everything that ain't for you.
Fearlessly. I remember when I used to feel, when my children were younger, I used to feel some kind of way about meeting a guy and saying, I'm a single mom with a 2-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 7-year-old. I remember that place in my life. Then I eventually got over it and was like, this is what I got. I'm not asking you to take care of them. I got this. I've been doing this shit. This is who I am. I'm not with, and I didn't wait later. I was afraid, and I'd say it anyway because I thought that it would turn men off. But in reality, I didn't have that issue. And more importantly, whoever you are, if you're willing to be who you are up front, that level of confidence and self-awareness and standing in your truth will make sure that you attract just the people who, because you don't want to waste your time. Nobody wants to do that. Waste your time talking to somebody who's cute but ain't about shit. Waste your time talking to somebody who's cute who believes that women with children are like the devil or some like burden. You don't want that. So tell them up front. And I've had many people who thought one way before they met me. And then after meeting, they're like, maybe I can do, maybe I can deal with this. Now, that being said, we are being pushed to move on, but it is very relevant to what we're talking about. And I'm really happy that thank you for sharing your thoughts. Thank you, everyone who has participated, because I didn't expect this part of the conversation to like go that route. But one of the main focuses of tonight's conversation is that monogamy is not the only option. And that's why transparency and communication is so important. If there are plenty, I know people personally, there's people in this room who monogamy is not their thing. But guess what? When they meet someone they're interested in, they tell them. So that woman or man has a choice. Am I willing to be a part of a larger tribe, as Donovan said, or does it need to be all about me? Because it needs to be all about me, for me. But there are people who are open to variations of that. But that one of the biggest issues we experience in our community is that there are men who want a non-monogamous situation, but they don't tell you that. So now it's cheating. They marry a woman that they respect, that they value, because they want to make sure nobody else can have her. They make her their partner. They get in a relationship with her. But sure, but I mean, and I don't know. I'm not a man, so I don't know about anything. Right, like, but at the end of the day, that man his goal is to keep you so no one else can have you while he does whatever he wants to do. Which, if he would have just been honest, think about your NFL players, your NBA players, your people, millionaires, attorneys, multimillionaires, people who make $250,000 plus. A lot of these men think they're entitled to do whatever they want to do. And they are, as long as they are open, transparent, and communicate. Because then they don't leave women in fucking pieces. They put women in a situation where they get to choose what they want. You have an issue with a conundrum then. Sometimes you will have a man who actually really does value a certain type of woman, like in Kevin's example, who wants a woman who is only interested in being with him. If this woman is only interested in being with him, and he is willing to reciprocate that energy, assuming are you willing to reciprocate? Okay. So everybody in Kevin's fan club, he's willing to reciprocate that energy. That is a completely different thing than a man who wants a woman who only wants to be with him, but he wants the roster. He wants to still do the shit he's been doing for the last 5, 10, 15, 20 years. So at the end of the day, there is no right way to have a relationship in that sense. What makes the relationship right or wrong hinges completely on communication and transparency. Does that make sense? Intensity. And what? Intensity. Oh, and that what he Cash? Go ahead, explain that because you just made up a whole new thing. Oh, it makes intense sense. Got it. Okay. I thought it was a new ism. I know one of those Cash-isms. But in this case, Shawn, you mentioned something earlier, and I want you to take it from here.
I wanted to echo or come behind the young sister that was talking earlier. Everybody in here got a smartphone. Everybody in here got an Android or iPhone. Sometimes you just need to turn it off and just
be present.
Be present. Show up to places like the Real Milk and Honey, or show up to different places throughout Atlanta or outside of Atlanta, and just turn your phone off. Don't be a robot. Don't be going on these apps and on this social media. There's already a divide right now that's happening between the gender war that's going on between men and women. And that's why we're having this conversation. I appreciate you for inviting us men out to be a part of this conversation, because there's a lot of gender war conversations that are going on right now in the world of podcasting, in the world of YouTube. And sometimes you just got to turn the phone off and turn the social media off and stop listening to these podcasters and these YouTubers that are telling you one thing about men, that's telling you one thing about women, and that's causing a divide. I'm coming from the old school. We didn't have those conversations, especially coming from where I come from, Atlanta. And it's all about community at the end of the day. And I think when it comes down to turning off the phones and disconnecting ourselves from the social media and from the apps and everything, we will get back to human connection and really get to the point of where we're interacting with each other as humans again. I have spoke to people who have shut off or took a cleanse from social media for at least a week or two.
They have retreats like that too, don't they?
Yeah, they have retreats as well. And they said that, you know what? I've been off of social media for a month now, and I feel like a human being all over again. I feel like being normal again. And that causes me to interact with people, especially people that are a different species of me, that a different sex than me and what have you, and I'm able to go out to places now and then. So sometimes you just got to turn the phone off and stop connect and stop conforming.
And that's a move better. You're right. You done dropped the whole good move better.
I mean, come on, y'all. Stop being robots.
You're absolutely right. I give that some, and so Kevin and I, on the way here, we're actually talking about that idea that nowadays, everything is at the press of a button. You don't like you said, you can just swipe to the next one. You don't like that? Swipe to this one. You don't like that girl or that guy? No problem. Call that one. It's the app, but it's not just the apps. Like the apps are the excuse.
But you know what? At the end of the day,
True.
That man right there. I'm not saying, when I say date 2 or 3 people, but you know that one, you got that feeling inside you, that gut that's telling you to talk to that person. You might speak to the ones, but that one right there is the one you're calling.
Someone you what?
The one you're calling or the one you want to get to know. I'm not saying go out and do everything. I don't mean that by that black part. I don't mean
Right. We're not saying but go be a hoe. I'm not saying that at all. True. Very true. Now, to the point of, if you are, so this is the challenge to everyone here. If you are single and you are dating in Atlanta or internationally or in other states, have the courage, be brave.
Oh yeah, you on it.
Brownie points now. Okay, good. Be brave and speak your truth up front. Give people the information that they need in order to determine whether or not they are willing to align themselves with what you got going on. And like I said, I have had many people who, and this is just an example. Let's say you meet someone on a dating site. I know people who are married from dating sites, so it's not the devil per se. And it says not interested in women who fit whatever category. But then they meet you and they go, I don't know, I might need to reassess that. Maybe this isn't what I thought it was. Or maybe this woman or man is someone worth changing my rule, my perspective, because that's what those are. There's things that we made up in our minds. There are limitations that we've created for ourselves. That's all it is. So sometimes when someone is meant to be in your life, they are going to challenge those limitations. They're going to challenge what you thought you wanted. And you have to be willing and open to have that experience. Now, we are ready for the Get Rich With Us segment with Mr. Kevin Williams.
All right. So usually we talk about something that we can all practice, go home and use as homework, and that we can cause ourselves to be better in this area. So today's topic is communication and transparency. And we're going to try to talk about, understand, and then everybody's going to practice these two things so that we can be better in our communication, better in our transparency. So one of the things, and this applies mostly in personal relationships, but it's the same thing in business also, and we go over this every week. When you're having a conversation, a deep conversation, a heated conversation, an important conversation, it's serious to the person that you're having the conversation with. One of the things that assists the conversation in going smoothly is before you respond to what the person is saying, whoever's bringing something to your attention, before you respond, you repeat it back to them to make sure that you're responding to the right thing. Because a lot of times in us repeating it back, the person says, no. Right. That's not what I was saying. And no matter what you think you heard, no matter what you know you heard, it doesn't matter. If they're saying, nope, that's not it, say, okay, great. Give it back to them, put the ball back in their court, and allow them to explain themselves. Absolutely. Or say what it is that they're saying. It causes you to not overreact on something that the person didn't even say. It causes us to not get into an argument on side topics. It causes everything to be a little more streamlined just from you repeating what it is that you understand before you respond. Now, to do that, like Shawn Garvey said earlier, you have to breathe. You have to slow down. You have to be a listener.
Present.
You have to be present, not just that you're so anxious to respond to the person, but you're actually paying attention to what they're saying. And before you say anything back, you repeat it. So what I understand from you is that this is how it should be, A, B, C, D, E, then this is what took place, so on and so forth. If you get it right, now you can respond. If you don't even get it right, y'all got a little more talking to do before you actually give your 2 cents or your comment. Now, it sounds easy. It's difficult because most of us are so anxious to respond, we'll cut the person off. We don't even allow them to finish. But this makes you, one, listen to everything that they have to say first, and then two, repeat it back before you add your 2 cents. Not with your spin on it, not with anything that you added to it, just to make sure that you have the right understanding. Now, the other thing that this does is that it makes the person clear that you are clear on what they said.
Yes.
So they feel heard.
Yes.
They feel listened to.
Yes.
So this does a lot for the conversation to make things move forward if we would just practice that. Now, is that something that each of us can say that we're going to practice from this point forth?
Yes.
In serious conversations, before I respond, I'm going to repeat back what the person said to me, just to make sure that we're on the same page.
Now, is this under what circumstances? I mean, is this just regular conversation, or just is like when we need to, when you and I might disagree? I mean, is there some parameters we need to put here?
Honestly, this is something that should take place all the time, and I'll give an example of why. Not in personal relationships, but when I work with contractors, or when I pay someone to do a job, they do yard work, or whatever the case is, I want to make sure that we're agreeing to the right thing. Yeah. I want to make sure that I'm paying for what, so I'm saying, all right, so what you're saying is you're going to cut the yard, you're going to edge the yard, you're going to blow all the leaves, you're going to not leave anything in a mess, and so on and so forth. You're going to clean up after you're done, and that's what I'm paying for, right? I want to make sure, because how many of us have had an opportunity or working with someone where it could just be work, right. It's not even a personal relationship, Y'all make an agreement, you pay them for something, they don't do it fully, and then at the end, now it's like, hey, I thought you were going to do this. They said, I didn't say that. This is a way to clear up and make sure that things work smoothly, whether it's in a personal relationship or not, whether it's a small idea or not. Because a lot of times you don't see it as something that's small until, until the end of the situation. Then you can see like, man, if I really would have implemented this up front, we wouldn't be having this confusion or discussion now. So it doesn't have to be a deep, deep conversation. This is something that I purposely try to practice all the time, especially in business, but it's more near to the heart when it's in a personal relationship. Make sense?
Yes. Agreed.
All right.
Yes, I'm going to do it.
All right, so that's the first one. The second one is, and this takes time too, you have to breathe and be able to express yourself appropriately. But what we want to do, and this relates a lot more in personal relationships, you want to be able to tell the person how to deal with you better.
Yes.
Not to criticize how they deal with you, but so for example.
Not train them through having a meltdown.
Right. But for example, most men, whether you're a macho type man or not, most men are not their best. You're not gonna get the best response out of me by yelling at me, by towering over me, and I'm not gonna be my best. And as a result, you're not gonna get the best from me. So I'm in a conversation with someone, and I feel like they're yelling at me. They're speaking down to me. They're saying things like, "Oh my God, that's so stupid." I gotta breathe, and I'm gonna let the person know, like, "Hey, wait. For us to have a good conversation and for you to get the best from me, it'll be best if we didn't resort to name calling. If you're not raising your voice higher than mine, you're not speaking, you're not telling me that, hey, this is stupid. It might be to you."
Why is your tone the base of the conversation?
Well, that's assuming that you're not screaming also. Meaning,
right, assuming you're not screaming also.
We're trying to do things that are going to make the conversation better or get us closer to a solution. And what happens is a lot of the times we are so focused on how the person is speaking to us that we either yell back at them or now we're ignoring them, we're not listening. The whole conversation goes down the toilet. So instead of doing that, instead of reacting, what we want to do is respond. And I'm not going to respond to you yelling at me. I'm not going to tell you like, "Hey, stop yelling. Why are you yelling?"
Right.
That's a reaction. Instead, I'm going to say, "Listen, it's difficult for me to understand what you're saying, the way that you're coming at me." Right. The macho side of me wants to stand up and say, who are you talking to? I don't want to be that person. I want you to speak to me in such a manner that will bring out the king, the God in me, not the savage or the street Negro. Like, that's not it.
Very true.
That's not how it works. But what I'm saying is, from both sides, men and women, we can tell the other person how to deal with us, not tell them how to act.
Right.
But say, "Listen, if you want to get the best out of me, this is what I respond to best. I respond to best when I feel like I'm heard, when I feel like I'm understood, when I so and so. Right. Talk to me as if you were talking to your mother, assuming they respect their mother. You tell a person how to deal with you so that you all are better off in success. Most of the time, we spend more time telling a person how not to deal with us versus how to deal with us to get the best out of us. And doing this, you have to be mature enough to be able to express your pet peeves and things that you don't like and so on and so forth. So, for example, with me, one of my pet peeves is a person that's very repetitive. Say the same thing over and over and over and over and over.
Repeated back what I said, so we don't have to talk about this no more.
I will literally spontaneously human combust and just explode. Like,
literally.
It gets to the point where it's like, oh my God. So, to stop the person, I want to make sure that they understand what I said, that I understand what they said. So I repeat it back to them.
But we're going to leave off the part so we can stop talking about this shit.
That would probably be best.
That'll probably be best.
But the idea of it is that we have to be mature enough to let people know, like, hey, when this happens, that really pushes my buttons. So, I mean, if you want to get the best out of me, if we're going to get anywhere in this conversation, let's try to avoid these things here. These are pet peeves that I have. A lot of people, their pet peeve might be when a person cuts them off, when a person raises their voice. There's a lot of different things that affect people differently, but instead of doing it or allowing it to be done to you and then you react to it, explain it to the person. Like, hey, listen, it would be much better for me to have a conversation, not for you. For me to have a conversation, if you dealt with me this way, if you avoided these things, then I promise you we can get much further. Got it?
So I want to kind of tie something you said earlier, and I think it kind of tied it last week to what you just said. So the effective communication of your needs, your expectations, what works for you, would be considered rich character.
Right.
And poor character would be not communicating effectively and training through poor behavior. Is that
Poor
right?
behavior, absolutely.
Can you give an example? Can you make the correlation for that real quick before we move to the next segment? Since it was mentioned earlier.
Most people don't like being spoke down to, being yelled at, or called names. You're a dumbass, you know, things of that nature. It doesn't work. However, you have two ways that you can respond to that, and which most people who have poor character, someone calls you a dumbass, you call them a dumbass back, you're a dumbass. Right. It gets into, like, now,
tit for tat.
Who's going to raise the intensity level the most? What should take place is that you're just letting the person know, like, hey, I'm not going to respond best if I'm being spoken down to, if I'm being called names. It gives them an opportunity to change the direction of the conversation. Now you put the ball back in their court. They can say, you know what, you're right. I shouldn't have called you a dumbass. I just wasn't in agreement with that, but this is what I really was trying to say. Or they can say, well, hey, stop being a dumbass. Right. That conversation is pretty much not going anywhere. The idea of effective communication, the whole point that we're talking is that we're trying to get somewhere. Right. And a lot of the times we spend so much time focusing on the other person as far as how they speak and what they're doing that we're not necessarily focusing on ourselves. And focusing on ourselves is letting the person know, like, man, I'm having difficulty even hearing what you're saying because of how much you're yelling at me, because of how down you're speaking on me. I'm a grown man. I can't, I'm not going to sit here too much longer.
Right.
And, you know, just be spoke to that way. So that's letting the person know, like, look, if you want me to respond better, if you want to get somewhere in this dialogue, it would be better you spoke to me this way. And I promise, if you do that, I'll respond better. I'll make sure that you see why it's better for you to respond that way. Everybody get it?
Yes.
So is that something that we all are willing to try?
Yes.
Mr. Garvey?
Well, wait. Well, let's make sure the audience answers because this is an interactive thing. Okay. Are you willing to do it? And then we're going to go to Shawn.
Yeah.
Are you all willing to apply what Kevin just talked about in the Get Rich With Us segment? Are we all willing to apply it? Yes? Okay, great. Yes, Shawn, go ahead.
All right. So I just wanted to say, and I thought you put it very eloquently when you said what you said. We have to understand that men and women communicate differently. Right. And and what I've learned in this dating journey is that we have to be better listeners. We have to be like active listeners. So say, for example, I worked in customer service, right, and as a sales representative, our main job was to use active listening to listen to what the potential customer or the potential client is telling us in order to sell the product. And what we have to do is be better listeners and not being able to respond so quickly because we're emotional people to some extent. Right. And like what you just said to what the gentleman just said, we're already thinking in our mind what we're going to say or how we're going to respond to that person before that person can actually say something. But what you have to do is that you have to take a breather. You have to breathe 3 times, take a beat 3 times before you can actually respond. Because, I mean, think about it. It's so much major stuff happening in the world nowadays that a conversation or what somebody say is very minuscule to what everything else is going on in the world right now, because you're dealing with somebody that may be triggered or maybe you never know what people are going through. You never know. Exactly. You never know what that person is going through, or it may be something you said in that commentary or in that argument that triggered somebody off. And so it's not what you say, it's how you say it at the end of the day. And what we have to learn as people, as human beings, is that we have to show apathy and empathy to people that have a different type of sensitive level, to where we got to read the room when we are having conversations with people, especially with the opposite sex, and understand where they're coming from, and not being so quick to respond to them because they have a different point of view. Whether you have a difference of opinion when it comes to politics, or where you have a difference of opinion when it comes to relationships or your outlook on the world or what have you, you just got to be able to listen to what that person is saying and determine whether you want to deal with that person or not. It's just that simple. So, just listening to that person and not being quick to respond. Go for it.
To your point, we talked about this last week in the podcast when we went over the 12 commandments of manhood. Yeah. It was reaction versus resolution. So if you think about, forget response for a moment. You have two choices. You're going to react to what's happening in the example that Kevin gave, in terms of somebody says something in a way you don't like, they're speaking to you in a way you don't like, they made a comment you don't like, whatever it is. Or you can resolve it by communicating with them in such a way so that they can communicate with you appropriately for you all to move forward. So if we are looking at anything we're interacting with, and we stop, I'm not going to react. I'm not going to do this. I don't want to go to jail today. and we say, how can I resolve this? I can't continue to have the conversation in this energy, in the spirit, whatever the case is. So resolving it looks like me saying, this is what I need in order for us to move forward peacefully and come to a conclusion, a path forward. So reaction versus resolution would resolve literally all of this, what we're talking about right now. How many minutes we got, Sharif? 1 minute. Okay. So thank you all for coming out to the Way of Kingz live podcast. I appreciate we had so much audience engagement. I feel like we had more audience engagement today than we've had any other podcast. But I love the energy. Thank you. Right. Thank you all for sharing your perspective. Thank you, everyone who had the courage to stand up and speak their truth, especially you, Renee, because you didn't want to get on the mic and you did it anyway. Thank you all for coming out, and we will see you next Tuesday for the Way of Kingz live podcast.
Shawn, Garvey, ATL.
I'm heaven's hitman, I honorably murk 'em. First come, first serve, nerves of barbed wire. Work ethic turns the bias to hard bias. Connections stable, I'm hardwired. This is pure energy, I'ma let y'all try it. Quiet riot in the veil of the night. The image I do only seen in a particular light.